Hey everybody, I'm out here at Linwood Cemetery today, and it's one of the oldest cemeteries in Columbus, Georgia. Sorry if I'm squinting, the sun's kind of hitting my eyes. It's a huge cemetery. It's a one whole city block, and there's a lot of huge memorials out here, and I'm going to show you some of them today. I won't be able to show you everything because of how massive it is, so let's get started. This is the Bradley family plot, and right here we have William Clark Bradley. And if I'm reading this correctly, Mr. Bradley was a cotton farmer, a wholesale merchant, steamboat owner, industrialist, and investor who served as chairman of the board of Coca-Cola for over 2 decades. So thank you, Mr. Bradley, for Coca-Cola. You can see they still use the wrought iron fences here. It's quite rusty, but this is one of the only cemeteries, I believe, in Columbus that still uses wrought iron for their family plots, or has wrought iron still around the family plots, shall I say. And as you can tell, these are very old, and they do have people come out here and maintain this cemetery to keep it looking good. So now we're at the Gerard family plot, and this one has the tallest monument in the cemetery. So if you're ever here and you need a point of reference, this is a good place to start. But a little bit about the Gerard family. L.F. Gerard served as Speaker of the Georgia House of Representatives and developed the Waukegan neighborhood to the east of the cemetery. And I actually think the Waukegan neighborhood is actually where I live, but they changed the name of it, so it's not called that anymore. And I would also like to point out, the only reason why I'm so open about talking about this cemetery and like where it's at is because it has surveillance. They keep the gates locked at a certain time, so there's really nobody that can come in and vandalize, and it's surrounded by so many businesses and traffic. It's not out, it's very out in the open, and that's why it doesn't bother me to talk about where it's at. So I just wanted to point that out, because I know I said before that I would never like disclose where a location is at as far as cemeteries go because of vandalism. But yeah, once 7 o'clock hits, the doors are locked and they don't let nobody in. They make sure they have security that drives around to make sure everybody has left. So it's pretty locked down, and I think that's good. I wish more cemeteries would do that. Right here is the Burris Monument, which is also connected to the Springer family lot. And it's one of the most beautiful monuments in this cemetery, I mean, in my personal opinion. But the main reason why it's so important is if you come right over here, this is Francis Joseph Springer, and he was born March 7th, 1834, and died November 17th, 1882. So he was relatively young, you know, but Mr. Francis Joseph Springer was a grocer who was the primary investor in the Springer Opera House. And if you don't know, the Springer Opera House is the opera house in Columbus, and it's one of the oldest opera houses in Columbus. Actually, I think it's the only opera house. We have the Civic Center and stuff like that. But yeah, as far as opera houses, that's the only one I know of. So this headstone right here is the headstone of Georgia C. Mustang, and she was the wife of John H. Davis and the only child of John L. and Julia F. Mustang. And she was born February 22nd, 1834. Yes, that's a 4. And died March 2nd, 1859. So she was relatively only in her 20s when she died. She was quite young. And she was obviously very beloved by her family because they opted to put what appears to be a sleeping child, but if you actually look closer, it looks much more like a sleeping young woman, actually, underneath an arch of roses and doves. So I'll get some close-up shots of this so that y'all can see it a little bit better. But it is one of the more elaborate headstones within the cemetery. And it really is quite beautiful, and it's aged very nicely. Right here we have Henry L. Benning, and there's a little bit of history about him. But first I want to direct your attention to this one right here, which is Seaborn Jones, and he is actually the father-in-law of Henry Benning. And I'm going to read a little bit about them. Seaborn Jones, an early Columbus lawyer, which is laid right here, built the mansion known as St. Elmo. His son-in-law, Henry L. Benning, was a lawyer and Confederate general for whom Fort Benning is named. So this guy right here is the reason that we have Fort Benning. Well, not the reason we have Fort Benning, but they idolized him so much that they decided to name the Army base after this guy right here. So he's not only memorialized here, but also memorialized over at Fort Benning. I'll also try to find some pictures of the mansion that they're referring to that's on St. Elmo. I'm almost positive that it is still standing, and if not, then I'll try to find some pictures of what it looked like in its heyday so y'all can see it. Here we are at the family plot of the Pemberton family, and I want to show y'all this one particular one right here in front of me, which is the marker for Dr. John's
Stith. Yes.
Dr. John Stith Pemberton. I think I'm saying he was born in Knoxville, Crawford County, Georgia, and he was born July 8th, 1881, and died in Atlanta, Georgia, August 16th, 1888. And he was the originator of Coca-Cola, which is why you see a Coca-Cola bottle right here on his grave marker. And I want to say, what is that marker for? Because that looks like
that means he fought in the Confederate War.
Oh, so yeah, so apparently he fought in the Confederate War. I wasn't sure what that marker was for. But yeah, obviously people still come visit him because he's known for making Coca-Cola, and they bring him a Coca-Cola. So right here we have the gravestone of not one but two people, Antoinette Rutherford Howard and Helena Augusta Howard. And I actually wanted to point y'all's attention actually to the center one, the Helen Augusta Howard, because if my information is correct, Miss Howard is actually the founder of the Georgia's Women's Suffrage Association, and for some reason her tombstone says martyred, and I don't really know why it says that, but it's kind of interesting that it says that. But anyway, underneath Antoinette Rutherford Howard, daughter of Augustus and Anne Lindsay Howard, it says she was a most unselfish character. And then under Helen Augusta Howard, it says authorist, artist, philosopher. So I guess she was pretty active in her community, and okay, this did a lot of things. Here, if you notice, it kind of looks like a tree stump or like a tree that's been cut in half. And it's for J.W. Davis, Woodman of the World Marker, is what the actual marker is called. And it says such stylized tree trunks indicate that the deceased was a member of the Woodmen of the World Fraternal Insurance Organization, which erected this marker. So the organization actually had this marker put here for him. And such memorials like this are really only commonly found in the southern states. So that's pretty interesting. And I actually never had seen a marker like this before, and I actually thought that it meant that, like, he cut down trees for a living. Like, that's where my brain went. So that's some pretty neat little history there for that one. But it's getting late, the sun's going down, and it's going to be getting close to time for them to close. So I think it's time for us to go. I hope everybody enjoyed this video and enjoyed the little facts of history about this cemetery. Sorry if you can see my feet. They started killing me midway through it. I took my shoes off. But thanks for watching. Give a thumbs up if you like this video. Subscribe if you like videos like this. I plan on doing more of other local cemeteries. Thanks.
That's it.
Bye.